Ladies and gentlemen, it is 6 o'clock, so let us call to order and get underway here. And welcome everyone to this regular monthly meeting of Saginaw City Planning Commission. If you are here to present a case, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, make your presentation. We may ask you questions for clarity or for more information. Simple majority vote of the members present will decide on the request. If you're here to speak for public comment phase of the meeting, please also come to the meeting, come to the podium. Also give us your name and address for the record. Direct your comments to the commission. We have no time limit, but brevity is appreciated. Let's begin, Mr. Faust, with a roll call.
Nash.
Here.
Zwerko. Nightingale.
Present.
Jones. Hanley.
Here.
Coloris.
Present.
Taggett.
Here.
Doan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And first item on the agenda, as you well know, is approval of previous minutes, which in this case was the July 22nd meeting. I was not at that meeting, so I will depend on you to tell me if there are any corrections or changes or additions or anything.
Move adoption. First.
Been moved and adopted. We approve the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, we have case number 1400, site plan review for a drive-through coffee shop.
Evening, everybody. Dawn Goodrow from 210 South Washington, Saginaw, Michigan, 48607. Also the owner of Dawn of a New Day Coffee House, who has been in downtown Saginaw for, it'll be 10 years this spring, and we are proud of that. So with that, we'd like to open a drive-through coffee shop at 403 Atwater. I believe it's in your, or 203 Atwater. I believe it's in your packet. It's the little drive-through, Saginaw's first gas station, I do believe. It was a Standard Oil station on the corner of Atwater and Washington. We're looking to paint the building. I do have some color samples here, as well as add some landscaping and some life to the outside of that. And it'll be a car hop style service. So it's not a drive up, it's not an order at a microphone and then pull up to a window. So traffic would enter from Atwater so that there's enough for the cars to line up and not be out onto Washington. So that's what we're looking to do. Any questions?
Dawn, could you, I guess, elaborate a little bit more to me on the car hop service? Do they drive under the existing canopy and you go out and take their order?
Right, they drive into under the canopy and then you come out, take their order. There's another person inside that builds the order, whatever the drink is, and then the person takes it out, the runner per se. My daughter worked this type of business in Ann Arbor at the Bear Claw Coffee. It's a drive-through coffee shop right at Washington Ave and by Trader Joe's.
Okay. How do the two lanes work? Is the existing canopy big enough for two cars to go underneath it?
It is, however, it's not big enough for them to line up 3 cars as the ordinance calls for. So we would have to direct the traffic just into the lane that is closest to the building. There is another lane if somebody wanted to get out of line and go around, or a waiting lane.
Could you?
Yes.
Could you come here? Okay, I know this is Atwater, and you're coming in here. This is the building here?
Yes, let me get a.
It might be a good idea if you sort of held it up for all of
Okay,
us,
so-
actually.
Yes, there's a lane right under here. This is lane 1, so this is actually the canopy.
Okay, so lane 2 is out
It's
beyond
right
the
here.
canopy.
It's not, yes, it's not covered.
Okay, that's where my confusion was.
Yes,
That's the one that runs next to the sidewalk, parallel
Right.
to the sidewalk.
yeah, it's right here. So the ordinance says 3 cars. It has to be able to accommodate 3 car lengths. And when we measure 25 feet, 25 feet, 25 feet, you don't have room to, you
Right.
could have one that would wait there, but you can't line up 3 to serve as another service lane.
So your intent is that normally it would be lane 1 that would be the service lane.
Yes. I was just showing that there is some, other area available if the car were waiting, if we directed them to pull up.
And in lane
there's
1,
actually
there is
4.
room for 3 cars.
Yes.
There will be no inside service whatsoever?
No.
None whatsoever?
There's not even room for that.
And you can't serve through the window then? You can't serve through a window
Well,
directly to the car?
it would have to, your traffic would have to come in this way to be on the driver's side.
Okay.
How are you gonna, what kind of signage are you gonna have to direct them? To the-
Right now, we'll start with just vinyl signage.
No, I mean about which.
Oh,
lane
to
they-
direct with the arrows.
Yes, because everybody's, when that was a drive-through, everybody went the other way.
The other way.
That was that way for years.
And we would have to have some sort of a state signage on the corner, enter with an arrow, I would presume. Can't think about
Dawn, how many staff are you anticipating?
that. 2.
And the park, where do you plan on them parking here?
Right back here. This is not used, this is behind the building.
Okay.
So we'd be able to fit, well, there would only be 1 car because we would be coming together, but there would only be 2, is room for 2 cars.
That-
And we just wanted, it's a trial thing. We want to put as little money in it as possible. We want it to look visually pleasing, of course, and, serve a good product. We are buying new equipment for the inside to do the full espresso bar, and then muffins, bagels, that kind of thing. But, in time, then when it's successful or more successful, then we will, increase the hours, and then also there is a sliding window here in the front that we would like to look at, having a couple outdoor patio tables where people could walk down, they would be able to get served, and then would be able to sit outside. So, but that's a long-range plan and would be a phase 2 of the plan.
Have you purchased this property, or are
No,
you
and
leasing it?
it's not for sale, it would just be a lease.
Oh, okay.
The concrete there is pretty rough.
That's the
There's
other
grass
thing.
growing in between the sections, and
And that would be phase 2, would be to, fix the concrete. Since people are not coming out, it's, not a hazard for anyone. There's grass overgrown right now, which we would weed and hoe out. And then, when it's successful, then we will, look at enhancing that pavement.
Is the menu going to be basically the same as your present location, or different?
Yes, but without the sandwiches right now. We're just gonna do coffee. It's just gonna be, 5 o'clock till 10 a.m. so that we're able to do both with a friend's help that's going to be opening the other coffee shop while we get this going, just to see how, it'll work out.
Who would your target audience be? St. Mary's employees?
St. Mary's, MMR, those are the early birds,
Sure.
the police station. My husband runs Washington Avenue every morning at 4:30, and between 4:30 and 6, there is a lot of traffic
Probably
down
a lot of
Washington.
activity, yeah.
So, I thought maybe we could push it to opening at 5:30, but he said 5. He sees the daily traffic.
Yeah, you gotta cater to the audience while they're there.
Well, at least try, at least
Oh,
let
yeah.
them know that we're there,
Sure.
and we hope to then, give coupons during that morning traffic to, push them towards the downtown and towards our location there, and to other things that are happening there, so that's the intent of it. Provide something. people don't like to get out of their car. They want service and.
Especially in the
And
winter.
so, yeah, in the coffee world, we have our regulars that come in and sit inside, but to run in and get a coffee.
Yeah.
We have, our people that support it, but for the most part, the everyday customer wants the service, so we want to see if we can provide that.
What happens to the exterior decor in the building?
It will be painted.
Good idea.
And then you make mention of a temporary sign for now,
Mhm.
advertising that the business is coming. So my question isn't so much for you, Dawn, but for staff. She'll have to submit that sign in for approval?
Yes.
And if that sign ends up being an awning attached to the building with signage on it, that will also have to be submitted in for approval, correct?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then any landscaping that they're proposing, and I'm assuming landscaping would be phase 2 if the
Yes.
business takes off?
Would
That-
be next spring,
That will
summer.
come back for approval.
That should come
Also.
back to you at that point.
Would it-
Oh,
Becau-
that does come back.
Yeah, that would come back to you for a couple of reasons. First, the tables outdoors would come to you. Now, the only time they don't come to the planning commission, my understanding is like Jake's, all of that was done on city property, so he had to go through all of the steps to get an encroachment permit. The encroachment permit goes through all kinds of things, liability insurance and all of that. But in this case, because the service for the tables would be outside as well, you'd have to come back to the planning commission with
Okay,
that.
but if we didn't do tables right this spring, but we want to plant just some trees, some pines and pots and stuff like that, does that have to come back to this table? Or is it just when we want to put, because that grass is not level, so it's not really conducive to tables right now, it would take a lot of clearing and leveling of that in the front to put like pavers out, and it would be a bigger project than what I'm anticipating for the spring. The spring, I'm thinking just some landscaping as far as
Just some
some
pots to
trees and
decorate it?
pots to make it look nice.
Does that always have to come through us, the plans? I don't think they do. Not all the time, unless it's at a site plan.
Not always, usually it's part of the site plan review, so if you want to do some pots in the spring or something like that, you might want to bring that up right now.
Okay,
Um,
yes,
So we
I
approve
would.
it, so you can.
Do it.
And do I have that in there, landscaping at some point?
I think it
comes
did
down,
say
there's also
landscaping.
another lane, customers, see it, you have it listed in here. Including what the picnics, just these
There isn't much to landscape.
No, it would be just some arborvitaes and maybe some panatilla or something like that to stake off the corners and then put a nice edge on it. And then, pots with some annuals and then maybe some perennials along the edge that would come up.
Then
If you were planning any future outdoor seating, you wouldn't need this grass.
Right, and see that grass is actually, when you go by it, you can see that it's not level. So this would have to be pushed away, cleared, and, a little berm. So and pavers would have to be installed. I would do something with outdoor seating once the project is a success and, we're getting some business and some profit in there. And as well as cleaning up the, repaving in the back as well.
But then getting back to Mr. Taggart, also with the awning, he is correct that you've got signage there on the awning, on the outside. The awning is considered signage if you write something on it.
Okay, so,
If you went to put a canvas awning
Yeah.
over an entrance or something and it said whatever
Mhm.
on it, that's considered signage.
okay, so you can't,
You can, but it depends on the side of your, that would have to be approved by the size of your building.
Right.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
There's
So
only-
like right now, we just ordered like it's about a 6-foot sign, 2.5 by 6. And it just says coming soon, and we wanted to get that up for the upgrade if this is approved? Would we be able to hang it from the awning?
Mike, that would go back to zoning, wouldn't it?
It would just be, I'd approve it as a sign
Right,
permit.
signage, yeah.
The way that you could do it based on the lot size, because that's probably gonna give you more space
For signage.
than basing it on the linear
okay.
foot of the building.
Okay.
For
Want
the,
something this
Yeah.
big.
It's like 120 square feet in
Yeah,
there.
you have to figure out another.
actually, for frontage, you could have 72 square feet, based on the current ordinance, and that's just for the front of the building. And then on the side of the building, you could have, 106. Whatever 3/4 of 106 is, roughly 75 square feet
Okay,
on the side of the building as well,
That's of signage.
of
That's
signage.
Signage.
okay.
So that's a lot of
So you're
signage.
covered.
Yeah.
So
You're-
we're
you're-
covered.
Yeah,
Just
that's-
want to make sure your bases are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's more space than you have on the building, probably.
That it is.
So I may have read into here just my own thinking about the landscaping question. I do have a question, though. She does list adding lighting.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's got to come for approval back to here, or just through zoning? City engineer for approval on the lighting?
No, actually, the lighting should come through you. So if you know where you want that lighting,
Through me or to you?
to the
us.
planning.
There's existing lighting there, so there is, a light that is like a, outdoor light that lights the drive.
Right.
And then there are light bulbs in the awning. And for right now, that's what we would use as far as outdoor. And then when we have a larger sign, we would put, you know what?
If you're gonna light the sign up, that's gonna have to come back and be approved. If your sign is
Yeah, because
internally
the
illuminated,
outdoors-
meaning it lights up from the inside, that's
Mhm.
also gonna have to come back and be approved.
Okay.
Correct.
Actually not, because that's included under the sign permit. I
Okay.
approve many sign permits
Well,
that are
the
lit
sign still
signs.
has to come back and be approved, not necessarily by this board,
But by you.
but by
But
you.
by me,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
when you apply for your signs, because when you apply for the sign, you'll pay for the sign permit, and then there'll be an additional fee that's decided by the electrician
Okay.
on how many circuits you have, and
Now, is that for lighting that is going to illuminate the sign?
yes.
Okay, so even if it's a, say, a light, say I have a vinyl banner hanging that says Lou's Drive-Thru, and then I have a light on each corner lighting that, not that, in fact, but I have lights coming down to light the sign. Does that come through you, or do I have to?
No, that comes through me and through the electrician,
Okay,
the building
okay.
department.
Because we're not going to add any other lights to the outside of
Okay.
the building than what
Okay.
exists, other than lighting the sign.
So you're gonna upgrade the existing lighting?
Yes.
Would be
Oh,
insane.
yeah, the box has been taken
Yeah.
out, it's old, and,
Okay.
Now, the only thing you may want to consider on the bigger light is that may be out of what's allowed by ordinance now.
Okay.
All lighting must be downward facing.
okay.
You can't have it shining out so that it illuminates somebody else's property.
Do you have a projected opening date?
Soon. I hate to get projected opening dates.
Well, we have to have.
Because you never know. December 1st is our ambitious goal,
Okay.
and,
But if
Not-
that doesn't happen, and it looks like it may happen in the spring, if you say a projected opening date within 4 months, or whatever, then you're covered for a
That time.
time frame
You don't- you
rather
don't-
than being
Okay.
deadline.
You don't have to see us again, that's what
You
you're
wouldn't
saying.
have to come back.
I see, then I would like that to be, today is the 28th, so December, no, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Can we go 7 months?
Usually we go 6.
6.
6?
May 1st.
Just because my 10-year anniversary is on the 18th of May, so.
Well, you'll have a
you know,
month to
that
get
might
ready
fit
for it.
into, you know.
It's not that, you know.
6 months with an estimated month.
Okay.
Yes, 6 months.
You could probably get it done in a month.
We'll be
Hey,
looking
Dawn.
for coffee on May 1st.
Dawn,
All right.
would you go back to the microphone? When
Oh.
I listen to the minutes, I've been taking notes, but when I listen to the minutes, I don't hear you.
You won't
over
hear,
there.
all right.
Okay.
So, are there any other questions from anyone? Mike, do you want to add anything at this point?
No, I think it's pretty well spelled out. It's gonna be minimal right now as far as landscaping. I think somebody addressed the cement, and that you might wanna look at that, depending
Which?
on.
Cement.
The
Replacing
condition of
cement
the-
drives.
Condition of the concrete?
Hopefully, you're gonna have a lot of traffic. I'm wondering, has anybody, engineering, anybody looked at that drive? How much pounding can that drive take if she has business she hopes to have?
No one has looked at it because there's nothing new. The engineering department looks at anything new, and they look at it more from a runoff standpoint than anything else. Because there is no new construction as far as that goes, it didn't have to go to the engineering department. I think that, let's hope that that's not the case, but if it starts breaking up quickly, if she wants business, she knows she's gonna have to fix it.
Along that line, is the adjacent property owned by the same person that owns that corner?
It
I
is,
believe so, yes.
the entire block.
I wouldn't be worried about it.
I have strong backing from the owners.
I have not taken a close look at that driveway. Should we? How serious is this? Do we need to qualify, you think, our approval? Or can we assume that Dawn will see that it's breaking up and know that she has to do something?
That's up to you how you want to handle that. I don't know how much it would take traffic-wise. From what I saw driving by, I think it will handle the cars now. There aren't big holes in it.
You will certainly have people coming in at a very low speed, so it's not as if
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be a lot of likelihood of big potholes developing or anything. I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't expect too many semis pulling in there.
They wouldn't get under the awning.
And that operated probably for 5 to 10 years as another drive-through, at least. For at least 5 to 10 years.
That's what it last was. Inside, there's an old menu that they sold tacos and burritos and hot dogs and stuff in there.
Well, you wanna give that to the museum.
That wasn't that long ago. That was-
Yeah, no, I don't think you want that.
It'll be old
Question
someday.
for staff, if we put a stipulation in the approval, to give her a year or 18 months to replace the drive, if she finds out that she doesn't need to do that, can she come back and appeal that stipulation?
Yes, she could.
I would leave it up to engineering. I wouldn't make that call.
Okay, I have no problem with that, but I do think
Yeah,
we need
that's-
to put something in the motion addressing the condition of the drive.
Well, that's the issue I'm raising. Do we need?
I would prefer that you do put something in the motion, because the other thing is, and this is very subjective, but the ordinance says that when driveways get run down, they should be replaced. So if you make everyone aware that you realize that it's not in the best condition now and needs to be fixed within a certain time frame, then that's been addressed and we can move on at that
Okay.
point.
Well, I can think of a lot of driveways that don't meet specifications.
Oh, I can too. There's several.
My concern with this is putting too many encumbrances on it. This is a startup business. And if it was me, I wouldn't spend $1 million on that place unless I had some idea that I was gonna be able to make it.
Well, and that's why I
So
think,
giving a little leeway to a startup business to test the waters, I think is in line.
I agree, and I think Commissioner Taggett said that correctly. If you give her 12 to 18 months, she will probably know by then if it's gonna be a business that's gonna make it or not.
Assuming we
18
do
months.
that, how should we word that in our motion? Should we be saying this is approved pending or with the condition that this will be reviewed again in 18 months, or how should that be worded?
You could put repaired or reviewed. That way, if she decides that it's gonna make it, she fixes the drive, she doesn't have to come back to you.
Right, and that's all I'm concerned about. I want to make sure all her bases are covered so she
Okay.
doesn't have to keep coming back here.
Right.
How about the word improved?
Improved would work.
Any further questions? If not,
Because if it gets improved, then engineering can look at it on their own without her
Okay.
having to come back to
That's
you.
good.
And then they would have control over whether they approve it or not.
I would entertain a motion. Maybe Mr. Taggett would be a good one to,
I would make that motion.
oh, well,
I support.
make what motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 14-00 to allow Don Goodrow to open up a coffee shop at the corner of Atwater in South Washington, with the stipulation that the existing concrete drive be improved as needed within the next 18 months, and that any additional signage, awnings, or whatever else they deem necessary for the business come back through proper channels as need be for approval.
Support.
Been moved and supported with, as stated, that we approve the case 1400. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're in.
And,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Dawn, would you stick around for a minute? I'll talk to you when we're done.
So, do we have any other old business, Mr. Faust, to attend to?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, you would be the one to be aware.
Well,
By golly.
Chair, I have a
Yes,
question about old business.
yes, sir.
We approved the used car lot in the 1400 block of State Street. How long ago was that, and how long is that approval good for?
Well, the thing I would ask, did that gentleman actually buy that building?
No, he never bought the property. The 6 months is over with because I believe he was here last December,
Yeah.
November or December, and you gave him 6 months in case he needed till spring. He said he hoped to open in January, and he never did purchase the property. So he would have to start over again.
So that's a dead issue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Along the same lines, let me ask a quick question too. When we give a completion date in our motion, that obviously can't be binding. Why do we give a completion date if it's?
I don't think we give
I'm thinking
it-
of, for example, the.
I don't think we give a completion date. We usually give a start by date.
Okay, I may be mistaken. I thought the gas station on the corner of State and Mackinac.
Actually, maybe in that case, did we?
I think
I
that
thought
you
we had
guys.
an August 1st date there and nothing was really
Yeah.
done
Yeah,
until
it's-
after that date.
It's late.
I think
We
you
did have a
usually
completion
give
date.
a completion date, but I don't know that that's correct. Usually what it should say is that it will be started within, usually you have a 6-month time frame, that it will be started within that time. Because during this process, you may have things that come up that the builder's not aware
Sure.
of, the owner's not aware of, and it may take longer than that. I do believe you have been saying completion, but it probably should be a start date.
Just from my history and probably Taggart's history, once something started, nobody ever stops it.
And it would be hard to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't know that the city would commit resources to go into court to stop
it,
something
so.
if it's been started. And approved by you.
Any further items of full business? I do not see anyone here for public comment. Therefore, if there is nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.